I'm telling you that everyone in Nova Scotia should launch a corporation and then try to get paid through that corporation. Let me say it again. Everyone in Nova Scotia, because of our crappy personal tax rates, should launch a corporation and attempt to be paid through that corporation. This video is going to teach you how to pay less taxes in Halifax, Nova Scotia. First of all, Merry Christmas. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays and a happy new year. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're happy, healthy, safe. Hope your family's well. And I can't wait to get into this video with you. There are so many people leaving Halifax. They come here, or they come to Nova Scotia, become students, and they go, okay, it's hard to make a decent income. You know, some of us do, but when you're not making a decent income, you're still taxed quite high. When you're making a decent income, or better, if you're hitting 6 figures, then you're getting taxed really high. If you have no expenses, you could be getting taxed 30, 40K. It's normal. Like your tax bracket is like 40% or higher, 35%ish. I don't know the exact rates, but it's high. I could ballpark how much you're gonna pay in taxes if you're making anything substantial. And that's quite sad. You know, even if you're making 30K, 20K, you still owe some taxes. And with our tax rate being higher in Nova Scotia than it is in I believe most of the rest of Canada. But what if I told you right now that there's a way right now, right here in Nova Scotia, you can pay less in taxes, save more than everyone in the rest of Canada pretty much, and then acquire capital to buy properties and other real assets here in Halifax and Nova Scotia at an even cheaper rate. So what you're doing is you're supercharging your ability to be in Nova Scotia, and you're actually profiting more than anybody in any other province. That's my claim. I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it, and it is simpler than you think. No more talking. I'm going to teach you concretely exactly how to save money and pay less taxes in Nova Scotia. Number one, don't buy expensive items here, high ticket items. Don't buy a $30,000 car in Nova Scotia, because you're paying Nova Scotia's HST, you're paying around 15%, whereas other provinces you can pay lower. You can pay 12, 13%, or you can pay even less than that in Alberta. So if you want to buy a high ticket item, think about where that's coming from. See if you can purchase that online, have it shipped somewhere and then sent to you, or if there's some other way you can go and pick it up from another province. I'm not going to do this even if I'm buying a computer. I don't care if I'm spending an extra couple $100. But if you're going to buy a high ticket item in Nova Scotia, think twice about, why am I buying a Lamborghini in Nova Scotia? But we're talking about income here, right? We're talking about income. If I'm making income, how do I pay less in taxes? Well, first of all, you need to understand the two different structures, or there are many different structures, but the difference between making income as an employee, making personal income, and making corporate or real business income. And I'm going to break those down for you. So when you're an employee, you get paid through your workplace. Your accountant at your workplace will perform the deductions on your paycheck before you receive your money. So some workplaces don't have this. They'll pay you as an individual if they're smaller, and perhaps you have to pay your own taxes. But for the most part, if you work for a corporation, you work for an institution, you work for a company, the accountant there, or accounting, is going to perform the deduction. So if you're making $6,000, then the accountant's going to deduct that money on your paycheck. They're going to pay into things like the Canadian Pension Plan, CPP. They're going to pay into your health care and your benefits, and they're going to pay into some other things, Nova Scotia tax. They're going to pay into potentially some federal tax. And then once you get your paycheck, it's going to be a lot less than what you originally paid. And that's where a lot of people go, oh my God, taxes are crazy. And I don't blame you. In Nova Scotia, we have a larger aging elderly population. A lot of younger people are leaving, and we have to service more rural areas. Like Halifax is very built up, but if you look around, things are kind of far away from each other, and it costs money to service those areas. So it increases the overall tax burden for individuals. Now, how do we get around this? So let me be clear. If you're an employee getting paid through your workplace, unless you're going to opt out of certain benefits, which isn't really going to save you that much, and you're going to, obviously suffer a loss if you're cutting your healthcare plans. For the most part, you're going to be unable to save that money. That's going to go to the government, and then you will receive a return depending on how much was paid out. You know, if you paid out more than you were supposed to, you will get some back. There's certain tax credits to your advantage when you fill out your T4. You might get some more money back in terms of your return. But other than that, that $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 that you gave to the government, you're not going to see that back. You're not going to be able to go buy chicken with that in your bank account. That's gone. So what are the other structures we can use? Well, I can start making personal income on the side. And before you stop me and say, Nader, don't go there. I'm not making money online. Wait, it's not about making money online. It's not about being a millennial entrepreneur. It's everybody can do this. And when you amass enough capital, there's a way to structure the way you buy things and purchase investments. So just stick with me. A long time ago, when I was 18 years old, I started my own business as a sole proprietor. Okay, there's a difference between starting a business as a sole proprietor in Canada and starting it as a corporation. As a sole proprietor, I get to launch my business name and call it whatever I want. I could call my business Nadernejad Media and put that on a contract. I can call it, as long as the name's not taken, Blue Sky Productions. And it's legal. It's a registered name, but it's not its separate entity. It is a part of myself. It's technically a trade name. That means this business exists, but I'm doing business as, I am DBA as this business name. So I launched Nadernejad Media when I was 18 years old, and I started signing contracts. Now I always worked a job while I did this, and then I started signing full service digital marketing clients. And in my first years, I made maybe $20,000 or $30,000, and those were subject to both provincial and federal taxes, like I am as an individual. So the same way my accountant deducts money from my paychecks before paying me, I was now responsible for deducting the money from my earnings in order to pay the government. Because, for example, I would get paid in full from a client, and then I'm not paying taxes yet, right? So no one did the deductions for me. So once I take this into my accountant, we will perform those deductions together. I don't do my own taxes, and then we will pay the government like that. That's how we pay my taxes. So when you're making over $30,000, you have to have an HST number, you have to register, and you have to pay money, even more in taxes, right? You have to charge more, you have to charge HST. So that makes things difficult as well. But so now, how are we saving money? Where is this happening, Nader? Are you just telling me about how we're losing money? Well, I'm going to tell you how you save money. When you start making more money as an individual, or you start forming new relationships in your community, what you can do is you can incorporate your business. Incorporating your business is launching a corporation. You can federally incorporate, you can incorporate provincially. Every province has a different tax structure, both for corporations and for individuals. But here's a catch. Here's how you save money. Corporations are subject to far less taxes, especially if you're eligible for the corporate tax deduction, whereas you're making less than $500,000. Let me say it again. If you are making less than $500,000, subject to some regulations and some rules and other things, but if you're generally making less than $500,000 as an individual, as a business, and you have a corporation, you are subject to a far less tax rate. And let me tell you about the difference. If I'm making $100K as an individual, I'm making $110,000, let's say, I might owe the Nova Scotia government, depending on my business expenses, because if I have more business expenses, I can write these off on my taxes to pay less, right? But generally, I'm going to pay a lot. So if I'm making $100K, I'm going to owe tens of thousands. If I'm paying $200K, I might owe very close to $100,000. It might be an exaggeration. I'm not too familiar with the tax brackets, but it's not too far-fetched. Like, this is how much it generally costs. But watch this. If I'm a corporation, I'm making less than $500,000. I owe between 9 to 11%, maybe 12%. It's far less. Far less. I'm making $100K, I pay $12K. Just think about that. Think about how much money you can be saving. So how do we think about this? How do we structure it? And how do we use this model? Especially if I'm just an individual. Right now, today, I'm working at Harvey's. How am I going to use a corporate tax structure? Well, I'm going to teach you how. I'm not very brilliant at all. Like, when it came to running a business, for the first 3 years, I was making like $500 a client. I worked like crazy, like 80 hours a week, and some years I made like $22,000. Okay, that's not a lot of money. As time went on, I decided, hey, I have this reputation on the internet, and my service is better. I doubled my rates, I did better work. started charging thousands of dollars for my services. Then I went, oh, wait a minute, that's funny. Like this month I net 5. This month I brought in 7. This month I brought in 5. This month I brought in 3. Oh wow, I hit 10K this month. And that's how it started to come in when I realized I could raise my rates and then bring in more leads. I'm not telling you to start a business. I'm telling you that everyone in Nova Scotia should launch a corporation and then try to get paid through that corporation. Let me say it again. Everyone in Nova Scotia, because of our crappy personal tax rates, should launch a corporation and attempt to be paid through that corporation. And you do not need to be making a lot of money to have a corporation. In fact, all you have to do is go online and file your articles of incorporation by yourself while eating potato chips, and then you, my friend, can be the director of a private company and the sole shareholder like I am. Now, funny thing happens when you own a corporation. You have to file corporate taxes. Yes, they're more expensive. You're gonna pay probably around $700. That's fair. In Nova Scotia, for some reason, they always charge you more. Even the accountants charge you more. It's like a robbery. Like they will charge you like $1,500. I don't know why. Just like H&R Block, not even like some super great chartered accountant, but just like H&R Block will charge you that. One thing I also do to save on my accountant fees is I kept my accountant in Ontario. Ontario is far more competitive for accountants, and not only that, because accountants are generally charging you less, there's no loss filing remotely nowadays. We've been through the coronavirus. Everyone knows how to work remotely. I can send my documents to Ontario. Now you may be wondering, can my accountant in Ontario file my Nova Scotia taxes? And the answer is absolutely. In fact, accountants are beholden to the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency. And most accountants, if they're good ones and they don't work out of their mom's basement, most accountants are capable and are expected to be able to perform multi-jurisdictional filings. That means that an accountant in Ontario should be able to file for, a client who has business obligations in Alberta. I own an oil company and you want that person to be your client. If you don't know how to file their taxes, you're losing major clientele. So most accountants will be able to file. So you can also save a couple $1,000s on accounting fees by keeping your accountant in Ontario. Anyhow, we've got this idea of setting up a corporation. Do not do it immediately, right? You need to find a way to start bringing in additional revenue. But I'm going to teach you about all the benefits of having a corporation. I'm going to lay out some situations for you. I think because real estate is generally, I know it's shot up, I know it's projected to go up by 9% in the next year, don't get me wrong, but still, real estate still is steal in Nova Scotia. You're going to be paying less on average for housing here than you will in other provinces. If you have the opportunity to play your cards right and really work, build out some sort of business on the side, even if you're cutting lawns, shoveling snow, it doesn't matter. Build out a business on the side to amass as much extra capital as possible to purchase a home. I think your first home should be as an individual. You're going to buy it under your name so you get the deed. There's something worth mentioning. As a corporation, you have certain legal benefits. If I get sued as Nader, or if I get sued as Blue Sky Productions, but I haven't incorporated, it's just doing business as, you're on the line, okay? So if I lose that lawsuit and I have to shell out $30,000, it's all gonna come out of my personal bank account. When you have a corporation and you're signing contracts under that corporation, you are not personally liable anymore. That corporation is. So if someone says, I'm gonna sue you for this like malpractice in your, doesn't matter. You have to sue my corporation now. Good luck. It has error and emissions insurance, right? I don't know. We'll get into stuff like that later. But the point is, you are going to be safe. But that also being said, this is a great reason why you don't want to put your first home under your corporation, because they'll come after your home. So structure it in a certain way where you're A, saving more taxes, B, you're making sure that you're legally protected. Okay, they come after my corporation. I have 7 properties there, but I have my 1 property under my own name. I live in this one, and they can't. So you're separating things and you're making things more difficult for A, the government to be able to take more of your income, B, liability. I mean, if you work with people in the States, they love litigation. It's like their candy and chicken wings. So you're setting things up this way to save money in the long run, and because you're saving more money, we have a very similar, it differs by 1% or 2%, but we have a very similar corporate tax structure to the rest of Canada, you can then save more money here and then start using that buying power in Nova Scotia. And having 200, 300, 400K buying power in Nova Scotia is a lot more than having that same buying power in Vancouver, where it doesn't mean anything, but they have a better tax rate for individuals. So you can actually use this corporate structure to make it more advantageous and to make yourself more of a force to be reckoned with than if you lived out west making a higher income. Think about that for a second. If this video changed the way you think, leave me a comment down below. If you're still stuck on how do I make money inside of that corporation, start thinking of great ways. Pick up a pen and a paper and decide, like, how can I realistically get to 10K? How can I get to 100K on the side? It's not that hard. In fact, it may take a few years, but once you get to 100, you can get to 200 and 400 and 500, and then once you're at that $500,000 stage, that's where your corporation takes off, and you can get to a 7-figure business, and then you have a chartered accountant who's going to save you money anyway for that extra 70K you're going to pay beyond 500K. So anyway, enough about taxes. It's Christmas Eve. I'm going to go get some food. Thank you for watching.